the key, I believe, and one of the failures that I think has happened with Congress is not just what committees do, it's what leadership we provide now. So I think first and foremost, what do we do local? You know, within the first 2 quarters of being in, we intend to host a series of local. Here's economically, you know, people our age are picking up and moving to Charlotte, Phoenix, New York City, Los Angeles to find jobs. The #1 story I hear about is my son's graduating from UB, he's got to go find a job. Or it's at Brockport or Geneseo, and he's got to go to Los Angeles to get a job. So what we need to do is I've traveled the district and talked to folks about what's working here, you know, and what's not. But you know, UB's got the 2020 vision, which focuses on those biotech and medtech. University of Rochester is actually a few years ahead of that. We have an amazing agribusiness community in our rural counties, which is an economic engine that's sort of been left to fend for itself, which is unfortunate. And here in Niagara County, we've got solar panel factories possibly going into Niagara Falls. There's all these stovepipes. There's no synergy. There's no regional economic approach. So one of the first things we're going to do, beyond what committees we're sitting on, is host a series of summits, both locally in the counties, and then have a regional one in Batavia, talk about what we can do to start to move a regional approach, a Western New York approach to our economy. And that includes, obviously, me as a representative, but also local legislators. It includes folks in the state, but it also includes business leaders. It also includes educational leaders. And we've got to start moving these things as a package, because if we're going to have a biotech and medtech and green tech economy, we better be teaching these things, you know? And we better be having the focus in our universities to fit in that. And I think the universities have been a great economic engine for us, but they're not being, I believe, utilized enough. So that's what we can do locally. Now, what would I do in Congress? I think there's a few committees I'd like to look at. First and foremost, obviously with my military experience and also the work I believe in, we can talk later a little bit about national security reform and where we have to go in the country on national security and foreign policy. But I'd like to get into the armed services aspect of things, because I believe in obviously finding a way to keep the military empowered, but also find a way to make sure it's a tool on our national security kit, not the only tool we're using, which is what's happened specifically in Iraq and what's happening today in Afghanistan. I'm very interested in both the labor side of things, but also very interested in the agribusiness community. My cousins are dairy farmers out in Wyoming County, and I think that's an engine we can use. Obviously, if we're going to be looking at green tech, I think energy would be another way to go. So realistically, as a freshman congressman, what could I do in those fields? Probably get one of those, and maybe possibly Veterans Affairs, obviously, which is near and dear to my heart, where I can make an impact. But I think the most impact I can make, first and foremost, is obviously in the war, as an Iraq vet. Then here at home, by providing leadership and creating this dialogue to figure out where we can go as an area. And that doesn't mean what committee you sit on in Washington. It means leadership here at home.